What's up, you guys? I'm Corey. Basically, I'm gonna be making a video today on signs that I recognize now that I was growing up as a transgender child. So bear with me because I did kind of make a list. Alright, so number one was that I never wanted to wear a shirt when I was a kid. I was always going outside wearing shorts or whatever it was. I never wanted to wear a shirt till my mom one day was like, you need to start putting on a shirt before you go outside, blah, 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 blah. The second thing was when I was probably like 5. I have a brother that's 2 years younger than me. And when I was probably like 5 or 6, I wanted to play baseball. Like I played t-ball and stuff like that, but I wanted to play baseball on the all-boys baseball team. So, you know, my parents were cool with it, so they were like, they put me on the boys baseball team, and at that time they were having like a little draft or whatever for the kids, like where all the coaches were there and all the kids were like playing baseball on the field, and the coaches would basically kind of like were picking who they wanted to be on their teams or whatever. And after the tryouts and shit, one of the coaches called my mom and was like, you know, are you sure she's on the right field and blah, blah, blah. You know, my mom was like, she wants to play baseball. So, you know, they let me. So I remember specifically when I was playing baseball with the boys, this was like, I think it was like the 7-year-olds, they actually let the kids pitch instead of making the coaches pitch to the kids. And one of the kids hit me with the ball when I was up to bat. And all the parents, you know, me being the only girl out there and shit, all the parents were looking at my mom as soon as I got hit, like they couldn't believe it, like what's gonna happen now? And my mom was like, shit, take your base. Like, you wanted to play baseball, you wanted to be rough, so don't look at me crying. You know, so that was, you know, that was pretty funny. And my mom did let me play baseball, so that was pretty cool. The next thing I kind of noticed, like as I was growing up and stuff, I mean, I always played like sports, like baseball and softball and stuff, and I used to pitch for traveling teams and shit. But I always noticed that I always wanted to be around females, but not because I could relate to them, but I guess because it was like to impress them, to show off, like always doing goofy shit. Like I remember riding my scooter trying to do like tricks and shit in front of girls and stuff, and I always just knew I liked females. So yeah, that was one thing. So another thing was, I remember one night I was with my mom, and it was just me and my mom, and I was sleeping in the bed with her. I was probably like 7, and my mom, I guess she decided to just start talking about periods. I was not having that shit. She started talking to me about periods, and I didn't understand it at all. And I guess it was kind of because like my mom never really explained stuff or really talked to me about stuff like that, and so the way she was explaining it, I guess I didn't really understand. So I basically thought like once you start your period that you were never gonna stop bleeding, and so I was like, put a baby in there now, like, because you know the way she explained it was, you're gonna have a period to prepare you for having a baby one day, blah, 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 and it scared the shit out of me. Like, honestly, scared the fucking shit out of me. So then later on, you know, my friends, my teenage friends in middle school and stuff were getting periods, and I didn't want that shit. I was dreading it. Like, I didn't want it. I didn't really know anything about it. And then when I started it was so embarrassing. Like, I had to tell my mom, and she showed me like what to do and blah, blah, blah. But then when it was like the summertime, it was time to like, you know, be able to go swimming and stuff. So she was like, she tried to introduce tampons to me. That was so embarrassing. Like, I just remember I was cleaning the bathroom, like doing chores, and my mom knew I was on my period or whatever, and she came in there with like a box of tampons. She was like, here, you need to use these if you want to be able to go swimming. I was like, I didn't want to discuss it. Like, I was not having it. It was so embarrassing to me. So also when I was a kid, like I'll show y'all like some and some of y'all probably already seen some pictures of me when I was a kid. I always had short hair, I remember like my mom would always take me to the barbershop, I mean not barbershop, but like to, you know, beauty salons and shit. And she would be like, oh, she wants her hair cut short, but make her look like a girl. And I would, man, I hated that fucking saying so bad. Like I would be so mad, like, why do you have to say the last part? Like make her look like a girl, like shit was crazy. So, I remember when I was probably like in third grade, like third to fifth grade, I went to Christian school, and I was pulling my hair out. I don't really know why. I don't specifically remember like a reason why I would be like stressed or something like that. You know, I was third grade. Like, what are you, like 8? And from third to fifth grade, I specifically pulled my hair out like really bad on the sides, on both sides. And so like I didn't want to go to the like place to get my hair cut, so I started letting my mom cut my hair, which was tragic. But you know, she helped me get through that situation or whatever. So also, I just remember like when I was a kid, you know, playing with other kids and stuff, I would always like pretend I'd always pretend to be either the boy, the dad, the brother in a situation, or I would say my name was other things. And when I was about 12, I started getting on like chat rooms and stuff, and talking to people online. And basically like I developed friendships online through these chat rooms that I would be in like every day, as someone that I was not. I was pretending to be someone named Matthew, and I did that, no lie, for probably over 3 years. I met several people in those chat rooms from the time I was 12 until I was about 15 or 16. And there was one specific person that we clicked, and we basically developed a relationship, long distance. She lived in Chicago. Me and her talked on the phone. You know, she never really said anything to me about like why my voice wasn't like a boy. And you know, I was like 14 pretending I was like 17, you know what I'm saying? And I had to keep this whole relationship from my parents. And even though they knew I was talking to somebody, but they didn't know like to the extent of what was going on. Like, you know, I guess they just thought it was like a friend or whatever, but I was really pretending to be somebody that I wasn't with this person for like 3 years. So finally, she ended up finding out that it was not a man or a teenage boy that she was talking to, that it was a girl. And you know, she was pretty upset because we had been talking like on a extreme basis, like every single day. Like, you know, when you're a kid, you stay up on the phone for hours talking on the phone and shit like that. And she was pretty upset. So we continued to talk for a while. And my parents actually, they didn't know that I had been pretending to be a boy. So they actually let me go to Chicago, fly up there, and I stayed with her and her family for like a week, as a girl, of course. And it was kind of strange, you know what I'm saying? But it was kind of cool because it was kind of like, you know, we already knew each other. She knew me based on me, but it really wasn't physically the person that she had been talking to, you know? And so it was a little strange. So then she ended up coming back. She ended up coming down to Georgia, and she stayed with my family for like a week. And after that, I mean, we kind of just, you know, we didn't really continue our relationship very much because, you know, she was like, I'm not gay, like I'm not a lesbian, I don't like girls, like I like men. And like it does that was like the extreme catfish. Like every time I watch Catfish, I'm like, yeah, that doesn't have shit on what I did. But I feel bad about it. But at the same time, like it was a teenager, it was something I was going through that I didn't know how to express. I didn't have anybody to talk to me about it. So it's kind of like, you know, life. One of the last things I wanted to touch on was when I went to Christian school from kindergarten to 5th grade, and then I did 6th and half of 7th grade in public school, and I ended up getting expelled from middle school for fighting. But in 6th grade, you know, they have like your sex ed and shit, and my mom did not allow me to take that class. Like, she was like, no, like, I guess she thought that they were gonna like teach you how to have sex. They were not that they were gonna teach you how to protect yourself and what STDs are, and et cetera, et cetera. So my mom didn't let me take it. So I did gym that whole week, instead of having the sex ed class or whatever. But in ninth grade, I ended up going back to public school, doing high school, and we had health, and it was time for sex ed week. And I just remember, like, it was so embarrassing. Like, I did not want to talk about periods and sex and dicks and pussies and whatever. Like, I didn't want to talk about that. I didn't want to diagram vaginas, and like, I couldn't relate to that. So I just remember playing like the whole class. Like, I was making jokes, talking shit, laughing, playing, just completely not paying attention, distracting everybody in the classroom, of course getting in trouble. Cause I was uncomfortable with that. I didn't care about that. It was just very uncomfortable to me, because it was like there wasn't really anybody there, you know what I'm saying, that was like me. Like, nobody, I hadn't really met anybody that was like me. So this video went kind of long, but yeah, that's pretty much it. The signs that I knew I was transgender, well, now looking back. So, all right, y'all, thanks.